What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. All right, so today I started a project that basically was not gonna be filmed because it was supposed to be a quick project, a quick turnaround project where I just did something to the car and got rid of it, but it didn't work out that way. Behind me is a 2007 Chevy Colorado. This is my brother-in-law's pretty much work truck. He bought this back in 2007, brand new, off the lot, and it's had it ever since. Now, when he bought this car, he lived out in Memphis, Tennessee, and this thing pretty much is a rear-wheel drive car, which kind of sucks for Midwest or Central region because we get snow out here. Not as much this year, but we do get snow out here. Anyways, long story short, he pretty much wants to get something different. Right now, he's driving around in a little beater because this did not pass emissions. I fixed it. It passed emissions. And we fixed some of the stuff. So some of the stuff that was going on with the car, and I'll show you the sheet that he had was, he had ABS sensor codes. He also had a check engine light for pretty much a evap leak, which I fixed already. And he had a battery light on. Now, battery light, everything's been fixed in this car. And again, that was supposed to be a quick video. I did do those repairs, but I wasn't gonna make a full video on the car because I just want to get the repairs done and over with and pretty much back on the road. But then my brother-in-law decided to basically want to sell it. So again, the car was in rough shape. It had a broken windshield. The headlights are all yellowed out. The tailgate is pretty bad. I mean, it's a work truck, and it was used for a work truck. It had a big dent on the side of the rear passenger side on the actual bed, and that was pretty bad as well. So when he told me he wanted to sell it, we put it just the way it was on for sale. We threw it at an auction and see what we got. Didn't get many offers, very little offers, and he wants more for it. So I said, what? Throw some money at it. Let's throw some money at it. Let's see what happens if we get more money for it. You know, it's basically, we've had the car since 2007. Never really done anything major in the car other than regular maintenance, and even the oil level had nothing left on it. So we did an oil change as well. So since the point I've had it, I've done rear brakes, front and rear brakes. The hubs have been done on both sides to get the ABS light off, even though right now the ABS light remains on because for some reason the new hub on the driver's side still won't read. Maybe a wiring issue, but I did get aftermarket hubs from AutoZone. Yes, I went to AutoZone, and maybe it's just a bad hub. So what I'm gonna do is, when I get some time here towards the end of the build, if you want to call it that, we're gonna go ahead and return that hub and see if we get another one and see if that one will work. But other than that, like I said, I fixed the battery while the battery was on constantly, and that was just a bad ground connection. So that one was fixed. We also did some tire pressure lights that we still have to, basically the monitors too haven't changed. I still have to basically get it reprogrammed so the light can come off. And the check engine light was the evap purge valve. Replaced that. Car is working beautifully. It runs awesome, 152,000 miles. To me, there's no point in getting rid of it. Actually, if it was up to me, I'd probably keep it after what we're gonna be doing with the car. So in today's video, what I'm starting with is basically showing you guys what I've done to it so far. And if you've seen already what I've done to it, I've shown you some little pics and videos here, what was done to it. But now we're gonna be basically concentrating on the bed of this car. And the bed of the car is in pretty rough shape. I mean, again, it was used as a work truck. He's never put a bedliner on this thing. It's just been beat up. Look at this thing. I mean, I have to scuff this up to put the bedliner, the spray-on bedliner we're about to put on here, but this is pretty much almost there. And it's pretty rough. You can see all this, and the dent was right here, and you can barely see it. There is some folds and stuff right in here. I didn't get it 100% off, but it was pretty bad. And then the bumper was hit before. He actually backed into something. You can see the bumper's kind of angled downwards. There is an adjustment. There's 2 bolts to loosen up to push the bumper back up. I got to get another one of these plates over here to cover this area here. The lights don't work and do work. Some brake lights work, some stay on. There's shorts in there on the actual lights themselves. Look at them. They got water in there. They're peeling. They look bad. I got new lights coming. That one's all yellowed out. I got new lights coming for that. The front headlights, those are pretty bad as well. The front headlights are yellowed out. Look at this. And that happens to all of these. And yes, I can go ahead and buff these out, but that'll come back. And I just want to make this thing look as best as possible, which I'm thinking at the end of the whole thing, he's going to probably want to keep it. Inside the car, it is pretty bad as well. It is pretty dirty. The armrest is folded downwards, basically. I'm gonna see if I replace that. The steering wheel's coming apart here. We don't know. Again, and we don't know how far he wants to go in there. So far, I've spent about $1,000 on what I want to get. Now, if you look at it from this angle, everything looks nice, right? But of course, just like a Chevy. There is rust right down there on both sides. So I'm thinking I'm gonna fix that. I don't know yet. I'm still seeing how bad of a job it's gonna be. I still have a couple other things to fix on the car. But at the end of the whole thing, the entire car is gonna look a lot better than it does now. And it's already driving better because the check engine light's off and pretty much the brakes are good. And I think I got a tie rod to do on this end. But other than that, the car was in great shape for it was 2007 car. So a 14, 15-year-old car, probably longer than that. My math's off here. This car is still running amazing. It's a 2.9 liter. It has a leak, very small, but that's because they did a timing chain job on the car and they didn't properly reseal it. But it's a very small leak, and you just gotta keep the oil in it. I did tell them that they had no oil in it. You gotta keep checking on that oil. But honestly, if it was me, I use this thing as a work truck. Basically, just kind of haul stuff around, especially in the summer when I gotta do stuff from Home Depot, bring brakes and stuff. But anyways, that's enough talking. Let's go ahead and basically, I'm gonna show you guys what I gotta do with this bedliner. Now, I've already washed the bedliner, cleaned it up pretty nice, spray some degreaser, let it sit there for a while, and pretty much brushed it in there and pretty much got all the nooks and crannies and everything else. And now we gotta sand it down. So to do this, and again, we're gonna be applying the Raptor bedliner on this thing. Now, of course, right now, I'm starting today. It's a Saturday night, came out of work today. So I'm gonna start the first part of it, which is gonna be sanding everything. We're gonna use 120, you can use between 80 and the instructions up to 180 grit sandpaper. I'm in the middle. I've used, I believe it's 150 what I got. Let me see here. Yep, it's 150 grit to sand it down, to kind of bring it down. And anything that's bare metal, like these areas right in here, you see all these well, pretty much the whole thing is almost bare metal. I do have to coat. Pretty much I'm gonna end up coating the entire bed almost with primer. So make sure it's properly, the bed liner sticks on there. Now, again, I'm probably gonna spray this area completely here because I don't want this to look ugly here. I did get some caps ordered for the sides here. I didn't get anything ordered up here, so the bed liner is gonna stop here. I may, if I get crazy enough, go ahead and spray this in too, just because it'll probably look better that way. Because I don't want to get, I know the cap for this is pretty cheap. It's like 40 bucks, I think it is. But again, I got caps for this. And again, I want to keep it as close to budget as possible where he wants to be around. And I'm already a little bit over where he wanted to be at. And again, by him selling this truck, he wants to get a certain amount. And I will put the price up at the end when I'm done with this build. But right now, let's go ahead and get started on this. And then after we do this build, again, just keep on watching the video, because at the end, we're going to see how the truck looks at the very end after all the lights and everything has been done on this. So let's go ahead and get started sanding on this thing, because this is going to be probably the worst process ever, and we'll go from there. Okay, so I am done. Now you guys saw me starting with the sander, but at the end, the sander does not get to the little crevices and stuff like that, or even in between the lifted areas on pretty much the ribs of the bed. So I ended up having to do mostly everything else by hand. So check how it looks now. Look at that. That's pretty much how it all looks right now. Now on camera, it looks like over there, it's not done, but it is. I got that whole section all done, everything. Pretty much, like I said, I got all this with the sander, all the crevices that are pretty much out, and the only parts I could not get were the smaller parts. Now, there are parts here that are down to the bare metal, which you're gonna have to get primered, like that area right there. Anything shiny, bare metal has to get primered. You see, that's primer underneath the paint, so you're still good to spray on there, but anything shiny, like this whole section right here, it's all shiny, that is gonna have to get primered because that's primer right there and that's metal. So anything shiny has to be primer. So I have a can of primer. You guys, give it a couple featherings on there, which will probably do tonight. Either way, I'm not done for the night. There's actually a small repair down there. When I was actually sanding, I noticed that there was some rust buildup over there, and I brought a little pick, hit it with a hammer, and sure enough, a hole just happened to just break right through. So I ended up pretty much grinding everything down, cleaning it, and then I ended up basically just patching it up and then putting some Bondo on there. I'm letting that dry right now. I'm gonna get a vacuum and try to suck up as much of the dirt as I can. I'm gonna try to hit up some areas that I don't like this area here looks kind of a little bit, again on camera I could see it actually on the screen here, but on camera it looks like I didn't do anything, but it is sanded, but it's not as sanded as everything else is. So I'm gonna hit up some quick areas while that dries, and before I actually come down and wash it, because I'm gonna take it to a car wash tonight, wash it, bring it back, hit it with rubbing alcohol, basically to get any grease or anything like that off of it. Then hit it with primer tonight. Leave it in the garage for tomorrow. And tomorrow, pretty much, it's supposed to be nicer outside, and I should be able to basically lay down the Raptor bedliner tomorrow. I am going to be removing the bed off of here, so I can spray the bed the tailgate by itself, and so I can have this all wide open. Of course, we're going to mask off certain areas here. We're going to have to cover the entire car. I was thinking of removing the bed off the car and just having the truck just sit out there while I work on the bed alone, and it'll be less that I have to mask off, but I didn't, so we're gonna have to deal with it. I am gonna spray it outside. I'm not gonna do it in here. I don't want, that stuff could basically, it'll be on the air. And then the last time I did something like that was with my buddy's Lexus when I did the undercoating, and there was undercoating thing everywhere. And I don't want the Raptor stuff in there. I can actually feel from me sanding so much in here on the dirt on the floor from me sanding on the bed here. But anyway, so right now, let me let that dry. I'm gonna give it a vacuum, hit up some other spots here that I don't like, and then hopefully that'll dry up. We'll give it a wash, and then, yeah, pretty much get it prepped and ready for paint tomorrow, or pretty much bedliner tomorrow, I should say. It's ready to go. It is late. I worked today an 8-hour shift, plus come here, sand, washed it, primered it. Tomorrow, just basically give it some final touches before I go ahead and spray it. Basically, just get some alcohol and kind of go over it real quick, just make sure that there's no grease for my hands, even though I've been wearing gloves the whole time. But yeah, that's how it looks. Anything that was shiny, any bare metal was basically covered up with the primer for it to adhere better. Everything else you see that it shows like bare metal, it's not. It's actually just down to the primer. So like these areas right here, those are basically the paint scuffed up. You can see right here, but that's still primer on there underneath the paint. That's a little bare metal right there, not a big deal, but pretty much most of the bare metal is covered up. And then we'll do this first thing in the morning. For you guys, it's gonna be pretty much in just a second. Okay, so we are now ready for painting. Unfortunately, it's windy. The wind is blowing south right now, which kind of sucks. Mainly right here because I didn't tape this down because I figured it should be enough, but it keeps bulging out, so I'm gonna have to figure out that when I'm painting, when I'm spraying this stuff, how I'm gonna hold that down there. But other than that, I've got everything else taped down, and we got our first bottle right here. This is the coating and the hardener, 8 ounces of this. Now this came with the kit right here, this little bottle, measuring cup. So 8 ounces, you gotta fill up to that line. Mix it into the bottle, shake it for about 2 minutes, and then start spraying. Now, I'm using a pancake compressor. I don't have anything bigger than this. That's the little tiny compressors. The rigid one, it was the ones on sale. So I'm hoping this works out well with this little compressor. I wasn't trying to spend, $300-400 on a bigger compressor, because at that point I might as well just have had it done or sprayed somewhere else. So anyways, let's see how this works out with the spraying. And like I said, first we're gonna mix this up, and then we're gonna start spraying, see what happens. All right, it's all done. This is what it looks like at the end. The tape lines are kind of on point. I did kind of mess up here a little bit. When I peeled the tape out, it was a little bit sticking off of the corner there. No biggie. This one over here bled into this side, so it's kind of the opposite. So if you put them together, they kind of match. I'm kidding. But anyways, this is what it looks like at the end. Check this out. Got really good coverage. I did use about 2.5. It shouldn't have actually got the second one, or the third one actually open. But I had my son mix it up while I was spraying the other one down, and it was completely covered by the second one because it's only a 5'1" bed, so it's not a very long bed. And by the second one, it was fully covered completely. So basically, I had him open it up and was just spraying some touch-ups at the end here. Right here, the air hose from the compressor hit there, and it messed it up when it was wet. So that's my only little screw up. Other than that, here's this part right here. Now you see like these ugly spots here. You remember when I had the coverage right here with the bag or with the plastic? It was with the wind, it was flowing into it and causing it to sit on here. And I did not notice that. And when I went to peel it off, it kind of peeled some of it off. So I kind of did it afterwards, and that's what it looks like pretty much. But for the first time using this, and as easy it is to use, the hardest part of the whole thing is basically just the prep work, and that is sanding everything down. You scuff everything. You don't take it down to the bare metal. If there is bare metal exposed, you got to primer it first. But again, it took me probably about 2.5, 3 hours yesterday to do that. Use the sander, and then everything else was done by hand. I used 120 grit paper, sandpaper, plus a Scotch Brite to pretty much scuff it up. And then anything that was bare metal that was really shiny, I sprayed it down. So if you're down to the bare metal, spray it down with some primer, and you should be all good. So it takes about an hour for this to dry. You do want to get the tape off of it before it dries. I actually took everything off except for right here, this area, and I got some peeling there, and this portion here actually peeled off, which kind of sucks because it was drying. When you peel it off, it's already dried, and you're taking pretty much at that point you're taking it off. You can actually kind of see it. I don't know if you guys can see it right there where I kind of had to respray it real quick. But I mean, other than that, it's pretty good. We'll see how it holds up. Again, I don't know if he's keeping the car or if he's selling it, but we'll see how it holds up at the end. And that's okay. So that's the end of this portion of the video with this Colorado. There's still more to come at this one. We're still waiting for the lights to come in, the front, the tail lights, and we're gonna get that set up, as well as gonna basically kind of give it a nice cleaning and get it going. And I'm gonna figure out what's up with that ABS light that's still on. We're gonna figure that out real quick, see if it's a bad sensor or what exactly it is. But this truck is almost good to go. I gotta give it a nice, basically, detail, and it should be ready to go back to him. Or if he's gonna sell it, I don't know. I don't know what he's gonna do with it. If it was mine, I would keep it, other than it being rear-wheel drive, which kind of sucks. But anyways, it is what it is. If you guys did like this video, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the like button, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.